According to the US media, President Donald Trump has scheduled a national security meeting at 1 p.m. local time to discuss the results of the strikes in Iran. The United States has said that the 3 nuclear sites that were the target of the US strikes have been obliterated completely. Now, Iran has vowed a counter-strike. Today, President Trump has scheduled a national security meeting at 1 p.m. to discuss the results of the strike in Iran. The United States has said that it was a successful mission, but the question still remains. What next? What could be the retaliation from Irani side? Remember, Iran has already launched several missile as well as drone attacks on Israel. It has gone on to say that the American bases are also now fair game. So is Iran going to strike any of the air bases of the United States in the Middle East is the question. Today in the meeting that has been called by Trump, a lot will be discussed. It's a national security meeting at 1 p.m. Local time to discuss the results of the strike. We have guests joining us this morning. Prabhu Dayal, former diplomat, joins us on the broadcast, and Rabinder Sachdev, founder president of the Image India Institute, on the broadcast with us. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I want to begin with Srinjoy Chaudhary, my colleague, joining us on the broadcast. Srinjoy, the President Trump has called for a national security meeting at 1 p.m. to discuss the results of the strikes in Iran. What's expected? All right. We'll go back to Srinjoy in just a moment. Ambassador Dayal, the U.S. president has called for a meeting, but it's the day after the dust has now settled on what has happened in Iran. The world woke up to that shocker yesterday, but now it's all settled in. We have reactions coming in from countries across the world as well. How do you see this proceed from here on? Yesterday it was in the realm of speculation, but Iran now saying that there will be a heavy price to pay.
Yes, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. You know, Iran, of course, has said that the United States will have to pay a heavy price, and the Supreme Leader has vowed to punish the Zionist enemy and also the United States. But the fact of the matter is that Iran's military strength is nothing compared to the combined military strength of the United States and Israel put together. Moreover, Iran has also been weakened considerably because of the strikes, first of all, which took place in October last year, and now the recent strikes which were carried out by Israel, and of course, the huge strike on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, which was carried out by the United States. So while Iran has threatened to attack, for instance, US bases, and the Supreme Leader has vowed revenge, if Iran escalates, then it might suffer even more damage. You know, I have been posted in Iran in the early 1990s, and I've seen how hostile the relationship is between Iran on one side and the United States and Israel on the other. And this is the biggest outburst of that hostility. Now, there are about 20 major US bases within striking distance of Iran. There are about 40,000 US troops stationed there. But if Iran attacks any of these bases, as I said earlier, the escalation would be considerable. The United States will use all its force to strike at Iran, and President Trump has already said, why not a regime change? The United States and Israel both want to knock out the Islamist regime of Pakistan, of Iran, and I wouldn't be surprised if any sort of retaliation by Iran ends up in the end of this current regime.
You mentioned the regime change, and it's very interesting what the US president has said, because this is the first direct assertion coming in on the regime change. Until now, even Israel has said that it may not be the end goal, but it could be the byproduct of what is happening, of the conflict, that there could be a regime change. But now Donald Trump says, why not have a regime change if Iran can't be made great again? Stay with us. We have Srinjoy Chaudhary also back on the broadcast with us. And Srinjoy, we're talking about the meeting that the president has called today. What can be expected in the meeting? Are there also going to be discussions on what would happen if Iran decides to retaliate, or even the possibility of closing of the Strait of Hormuz?
The plans are all there. Surely, when the president does speak with his staff, all the issues will come up. So the first question that can come up during that meeting is, what can Iran do? Now, the Straits of Hormuz issue has already been worked on by Iran. Iran has made it clear that its parliament has said that, yes, the straits can be closed. Now, that is not going to be very good for oil production, oil distribution, and the prices of petroleum could well go up. This will affect India as well. That's only one option. The second option, of course, is to strike at all the American bases in the Arabian Peninsula and nearby areas, which means Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia itself, Oman, the UAE. Besides that, there are bases in other areas like Iraq, maybe even in Syria. So they could be attacked as well. Then, if that is so, what is the retaliation? That is something America has to work out. Yes, we know they've said that we will react very strongly, but what does strongly actually mean? So that point will have to be made. Then there is a third problem of possible terrorist strikes, Iran-supported strikes within the heartland, in the United States itself. So there could be a sleeper cell there, or two of them, and they could strike. Now, that is something that the American Homeland Security Department will have to look out for. So all these are options for all these things the Americans will probably look at.
Okay.
And once they look at these things, they will have to take necessary precautions. For Iran, well, Iran has many choices. There are also diplomatic options. There are already concerns and also discussions going on with the Russians. So that too is an option. Also, more pressure through the UN Security Council. There was a meeting yesterday.
Yes.
So all these things are on the table. We don't know what the Iranians will do. And if the Iranians do what they do, we don't know how the Americans will react.
And the entire world is on the edge, waiting to look at what is going to happen next. Do stay with us. We have more breaking updates coming in as we speak of the response. Given the fact that Russia has strongly condemned the United States strikes the day before against 3 key Iranian nuclear facilities, and